Anthony Edwards has a budget basketball shoe that will retail for $100. It's called the ADIDAS Believe That one, and the shoe seems to have potential. Question is, will you get a pair given the price? Because to me, $100 is not too bad, although what I do know is that there are good performing basketball shoes at half that price if you're not too fixated on the brand name. You see, I've been writing sneaker stories and posting shoe reviews for more than 10 years, and through those years, I've made videos about many budget basketball shoes across different brands. So when I first heard about Adidas releasing a takedown model, aka budget model of Anthony Edwards shoes, I was intrigued. You probably were too, but there's one thing about the budget shoe that you need to know. And that one thing is the fact that the latest leak of the shoe is actually a different version. It's not the first, but the second version of the Adidas Believe That one. But that's not all, because the redesign of the budget model may actually have a lot to do with the redesign of the main signature line, which means the Adidas AE2 that you know of today in fact looks completely different from when it was first leaked. So let's have a quick conversation. The important thing to keep in mind is that there has been a change. Back in March 2025, I posted a video about what was then rumored to be the Adidas Believe That one. It had standard features like mesh upper and standard EVA midsole among others. The only thing probably attention grabbing about it was the outsole, but even that was not enough for Adidas to keep the design. That's because that first design seems to have been abandoned. We now have what could actually be the true takedown shoe model of Anthony Edwards, and it looks entirely different from the initial design. And this design change in the takedown model seems to be connected to the design change in the main signature line. Because if you remember, the initial leaks of the AE2 show a different design. The first leaked images show a shoe that uses what looks like filters, but Adidas shut it down, and eventually the fanged concept became the final version. So it's possible that the design change in the AE2 also prompted Adidas to have a design change for the budget version. But what about the tech? Here's what I think. Not much is known about the tech behind this new budget shoe, but we have some clues. First is the upper. The low top silhouette seems to have a textile based material, and on top of this is what looks like a version of the generative support wing, but it may not be as restrictive. This is most likely a soft synthetic panel instead of plastic, with 5 cutout sections supposedly for enhanced ventilation, but that remains to be seen, just like the cushioning. That's because there are no visible visual cues. The shoe, though, is said to use full-length Dream Strike for the midsole, but that's as far as reports say. But if it's true, you can expect it to be a bit denser than Light Strike foam. Dream Strike is more resilient but a little heavier, and it's also cheaper to produce, so it makes business sense. What doesn't seem to make too much sense is that the shoe will supposedly have a midfoot shank. I mean, the shoe is already using a denser foam material, which means it's stiff enough to withstand excessive twisting. But we'll probably find out later, just like the outsole details, because there's no info yet. It's highly likely that the shoe will only have solid rubber and no translucent rubber compounds. Until then, we're not seeing the outsole, but people have started to see some similarities of the budget shoe with other sneakers, and here's some of them. Of course, at this stage, people have their say about the shoe's design, and I want to hear your thoughts as well, especially if you're into budget basketball shoes. But so far, I've heard some people say that the shoe looks like the Adidas Dame 9. It's definitely because of the upper construction and also because of the cutout sections on the side panels. Others say that the shoe looks similar to the Adidas Initiation, which is also a budget shoe. I think they may may be comparing it to the first leaked version of the Believe That one. That's because the heel construction, outsole design, and traction pattern look very similar to the one in the Adidas initiation, which is not surprising because brands reuse similar tooling to save on costs. On the contrary, the rumored Adidas Believe That one doesn't look remotely close to the Adidas AE2. Adidas has revealed that the AE2 is built around the concept of the Alpha Dog, which is shown through the Fangs design. The budget version, however, doesn't have any of that. It doesn't even look similar to the AE1, although the concept of a sidewall is still there. But there's one thing I need to know from you. And that would be your first thoughts about this new budget basketball shoe from Adidas. Now, if you're a fan of Anthony Edwards, I would assume that the shoe is on your radar. But all the same, let me know in the comments. And if you're just looking for a budget shoe to hoop in, I want to know if the Adidas Believe That one is one of your options. Because ultimately, the Adidas Believe That one has just started. Adidas probably has long-term plans for Anthony Edwards' budget shoe line, and how you perceive the shoe will be an important baseline for Adidas to say whether the shoe is a hit or a miss. To me, $100 shoe is good, but once it goes on discount is way better. But let me know what you think. Hey man, thanks for watching. You can support me and my cats by joining my channel membership. Thanks, and I hope to see you on the next one.